Hey everybody, welcome to Dad's Den of Pop Culture and Alpha Flight Monday. This is what we got left before the end of the year. We're counting them down. 5 issues to go, 4 Mondays, and this is one of them. But today, our focus is going to be on Alpha Flight number 49 from August of 1987. So let's see what we got here. So last issue, Alpha was fighting Omega, which was a fusion of Lionel Jeffries' Scramble. Lionel Jeffries makes me think of Lionel Jefferson. I'm old and weird. I can't help it. It's a combination of him and Roger Box. They've kind of mutated together, and they're going to basically try to absorb Alpha Flight into themselves out of revenge, out of whatever. And as we ended the last issue, Madison Jeffries, who had been, his body had been warped by his brother so that he couldn't move and couldn't even talk, wasn't sure how he was going to manage to help Alpha Flight. And Dr. Knapp, who had also been warped by Scramble, didn't look like he was going to be able to help either. And then suddenly there's this blast of light. Well, now we see what that blast of light was. And we hear Knapp saying, "Mr. Jeffries, what's happening to me?" And of course he's saying, "Even if I knew, I couldn't tell you because my mouth is fused together." He apparently now has been joined by 3. Well, that was him. Now we have these 4 entities here. Are they friends? Are they enemies? What exactly are they? Well, this is them. Oh, gosh. Nurk. Today is perplexed. It is for tomorrow to explain. And here's where we're going to get the explanation. So essentially, we get a recap of what happened with Scramble and Box turning into this thing and mutating Knapp and Mr. Jeffries there. And so this latent power that he had has now come to the fore. And so he basically can split into what he was evolutionarily and what he will be. Now, it's kind of a fun superpower, and he's a fun little character, but it's also one that in a lot of ways makes no sense at all. It kind of reminds me of the stuff you'd get in the Doom Patrol when it started getting really weird. So he basically orders his caveman self, which will be known as Nurk, to toss Madison Jeffries, or get Madison Jeffries near the box armor so he can phase back into it. Because now Madison Jeffries can phase into things, even if it didn't seem like he could in the past. And they do say, look, he's like, whoa, don't throw him. It's a little bit too late. But he's like, no, you really need to order us very precisely what you want, or we're going to deal with things as befits their physical reality. So Nurk is a caveman, so he's maybe a little bit rough. We are now seeing the forging of a new Alpha Flight. So he phases him into the box armor. And now Jeffries is back into the fight. And so he says, you stay here. I got to go help Alpha. And here's where I complain sometimes because it seems like they move a little bit too fast. Wait, as mannequin, there must be something I can do. Well, wait a minute. Mannequin? He just came up with that name like really fast. I would have probably left that out of there. This feels like we have to introduce the name of this new character. Oh, did he really have time to think of that? Okay, either way, he's now mannequin. So there you go. And we get this weird image. What does that mean? What happened there? Meanwhile, back in the fight, they're fighting Omega. Omega's capturing people. He's, kind of crazy. And It's a combination of Roger Box's inventive mind and Scramble's power that's doing this. There's no end to Omega's metamorphosis. What do we do, Vindicator? Half of him is an Alphan. No longer, Purple Girl. He is a madman. And Puck says here, if insanity were an impediment to membership in Alpha Flight, I'd hazard that many of us might not be here, with the North Star and his sister Aurora heading the list. Now, this was something to me, looked like maybe they were going to, it looked like a direction potentially for Alpha Flight. Okay, they're kind of recognizing, and it was there from the start, there's a lot of people in Alpha Flight who have some kind of mental problem, some kind of issue. That might be something interesting to explore. And so I was hoping that was going to maybe put things in a particular direction. It didn't turn out that it did. And he's saying, I thought we'd come a long way since, then, talking about the past. Though with all that's happened, I'm beginning to wonder if maybe we haven't regressed. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering the same thing. And so he's saying, yeah, I'll absorb the dwarf. He doesn't have much to offer. He goes, but out of your power suit, battle suit, you're no good. I'm just going to enjoy inflicting pain on you. So Scramble really has it out for Heather. By the way, and I didn't talk about who did this issue, did I? Bill Mantlo script. June Brigman is back doing pencils. Whilce Portacio back doing inks. Janice Chang letters. Bob Sharon colors. Carl Potts editor. Jim Shooter editor-in-chief. Don't want to leave that out. And I mention that because I really like this image. Brigman does some really great job, like I've said, on faces and stuff. Not that her action isn't good either, or good as well, but I really like some of the face work she does. So Purple Girl, they decide, you know what? Maybe you can use your power to control him. And Vindicator's kind of thinking, I probably should be ordering her to flee, not fight, but if Alpha falls, she'd be doomed anyways. As leader, I've got to put the survival of the team above that of any individual member. Is that necessarily true? She's kind of a ruthless leader. And she's kind of like worried, she's freaked out. And so just as she's going to try it out, he covers her mouth with one of his tendrils and kind of starts absorbing her. So it's a little bit too late. And so it's looking pretty bad here for Alpha Flight. And then, da-da-da-dun-da-da. So the merger of Alpha and Omega will be well nigh invincible. Not if I can help it, Lionel. And help it I can, Madison. So Jeffries busts through the wall. Or actually, maybe he doesn't. Yeah, I think he did. But then Mannequin and his guys show up as well through teleportation. So the future version of him is capable of teleporting. And so the caveman, Nurk, I think it's Nurk is what they end up calling him. He jumps in and starts whacking on, Omega. Box does the same. So this is the chance for Alpha to kind of, catch their breath and get back into the fight, get back on offense. And I be honest with you, I remember Mannequin from a lot of the later issues, and I did like that character quite a bit. He was fun. It's sort of hard to explain how it works or how it makes sense, but we do get a nice bit here, though, of like a highbrow. Omega's absorbing the Purple Girl. Save her. Huh? How? The fact that something in your genes has chosen to give you help does not mean that you yourself are helpless. I'm not? I'm not. So he gets a wrench and he runs in there. But, this is again where some of the writing gets a little bit. Puck has no powers, so he's useless and he keeps getting injured. This dude, Nap, no powers, no special fighting ability at all. But he rushes in and saves Purple Girl and doesn't get injured, and that's not a problem. This is some of the stuff that's driving me a little bit crazy about this book. It's like they've decided that that's the journey that Puck's going to take no matter what. And it doesn't matter what. So Nap has his own little thing going. Puck has his little thing going. And the fact that one makes the other one not really make sense doesn't matter. We're sticking with it. The other thing that bugged me also was, if Puck's getting hurt all the time, why doesn't Jeffries make him some sort of a battle suit to protect him? See, you're creating these extraordinarily powerful characters, and then you sort of conveniently forget about the powers that could solve a problem when you want to forget about it. Okay, so he saves her. He's giving her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, not kissing her, although he kind of probably wants to. And we talked about that a little bit last time around. So now it's a standoff between the brothers. And he's saying, no longer am I either Lionel Jeffries or Scramble, the mixed-up man, brother. I am Omega. You're nutty as a fruitcake, whatever you call yourself, and you always have been. That's why I had to lock you away after they shipped you home from Nam for trying to make whole men out of pieces. You're flesh of my flesh, Lionel, the only brother I'm ever likely to have. I didn't want to hurt you then. I don't want to hurt you now. But I'll put you in a rubber room for life before I let you hurt Alpha. You forget, brother, that you are speaking to Omega, the one-man army. And you're forgetting, Omega. That makes two of us. And here's where he transforms the old box robot to the new version. Just a little bit more anime. Hey, that was the hot thing. And so he transforms into this form. Go ahead and turn yourself into 1001 organic frights, Omega. I'll match you change for change. No, Mr. Jeffries, pull back. Lionel's still your brother, and somewhere inside him still exists the mind of Roger Box, your best friend. You mustn't be the hand that destroys them. Somebody has pointed out that best friend, they had just met like a few months ago. It's, again, one of those inconsistencies in the writing. I'm the leader. I'm responsible. Let me. Well, Heather, if you coulda, you probably woulda. Let you what, Vindicator? Being leader don't mean you've got to do all the dirty work. This is a team, lady, and I'll do my share. Stand with Alpha, brother, and you shall fall with them. Okay, so we're getting into a big fight. We have a nice little moment there. You okay? I am now. Again, great face work. So at this point, they're fighting back, and Roger Box starts to reassert himself. And he says, so far you've called all the shots. Now Roger Box is exercising a little free will. You want to know why? Sharing this corpus with you has shown me the depth of your insanity, and my own. So Alpha was right. I am nuts. I need help. We both do. That's why I'm calling off this fright fest now. Well, that's good. And again, I thought that was like, okay, are we going to go into a series of stories where Alpha Flight actually starts healing rather than just stumbling from tragedy to tragedy? Well, I had hopes. Fool, as I alter bodies, so may I transmute minds. I need only the inventive aspect of your intelligence, not your independent thought. So he basically lobotomizes Roger Box. And at that point, Madison Jeffries has had enough. And so he creates this sort of blaster thing. And boom. Mr. Jeffries, your brother. I ain't got no brother no more, Vindicator. My brother died when he killed my best friend. A pretty figure of speech, Madison. I am hurt, but I survived your blast, as I suspect you intended. Heroes, you're all so moral, so predictable, so laughable. And that's why in the end I'll win, because you can't bring yourselves to slay the very creature who will not rest until he's absorbed you all. Shut up. Purple Girl, what? I'm tired of listening to this maniac monster vindicator. He's got nothing to say till he undoes some of the evil he's caused. He's in my power now, and he'll restore whomever I tell him to restore. I like that little bit. I like that. I do enjoy that. Starting with whoever he transmutated first, and at that point, Jeffries phases out of the armor. They see the shape he's in. She orders him to fix his brother. Now, again, though, the problem with some of these mega powers we have is, so order him to also fix North Star, his cough? Well, no, we're not going to do that. And there's a reason coming down the line, but, you know, at this point, you kind of go, well, that doesn't make sense. Wouldn't somebody bring that up? So how about Box? Impossible. Nothing remains of his mind to restore. You murdered him. Dear heaven, now what do we do? We came here to commit Box. I dare say the same could be done to the criminally insane Omega. But what kind of facility could cure or contain him? No place on Earth. Only my power holds him harmless now. And that's Purple Girl. And the Purple Girl cannot be expected to devote the rest of her life to standing guard over Omega. Perhaps some special cell could be built. You're dreaming, Vindicator. And that's what Omega's counting on. That we'll be too moral to do what's got to be done. He almost destroyed Alpha once, as Scramble. We thought he was cured. He wasn't. Then he became Omega. We could never trust that any doctor could cure him again, or that any cell could hold him. For the rest of our lives, we'd have to live with the fear that Omega'd absorb his keepers, shift shape, and slither out of custody to unleash his powers on the world again. So what are you suggesting, Mr. Jeffries? Since I ain't willing to be my brother's keeper, I gotta become his destroyer. And so he morphs back into the robot there and basically destroys his brother. And then quietly walks away while the others look on. Now again, though, Heather, what are you saying? Heather, you just killed one of your friends like a couple issues ago. You know, when Snowbird was kind of going nuts. So you're like, that's the problem with the inconsistency. You know, of all people, Heather should be like, we got to do it for the greater good and not have a problem. Again, these are all things you could do with these characters, but you got to make it make sense. It needs to stay consistent. And the writing has been inconsistent, I think, because of things going on behind the scenes. So North Star now looks like he's in really bad shape, which, frankly, he's been in somewhat bad shape all along. I am dying. My body's systems are breaking down. I was apparently already ill when Pestilence sensed the disease within me and exacerbated it. I insisted we bring Box to Scramble, hoping he would cure me. Now that hope has been shattered. Puck, Sasquatch, search New Life, find Aurora. Tell her we've got to get her brother to a doctor. Now, but again, you're going, like, he was under control. I mean, I don't know. Like, you blow him up, and then it's like, oh, hey, wait a minute. North Star, he's been sick. And so we see that the people that have been trapped in these jars, these containment cells, are now free. And Aurora, in the dark, has gone back to her Jean-Marie personality. One flew east, one flew west, one flew over the cuckoo's nest. Maybe that's a little bit too on the nose, but where do those people go? What are they? What's going to happen to Aurora? Well, I mean, turn the lights back on and she'll reassert her personality. I guess that's not as big an issue. But next issue, 50th, double-sized issue, This Mortal Coil. So we've been building up to this next issue for a while. And I think if you're a fan of original Alpha Flight, it's a bit controversial. So we'll see that here next Monday, and we'll see just how controversial it is. It's going to be a biggie, folks, and I will see you then. Let me know in the comments what you think of issue number 49. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, subscribe, maybe share with a friend. We got 3 more episodes of Alpha Flight Monday, and then in 2025, it becomes Justice League Monday. We're going to be looking at Justice League International from issue 1 to issue 52 or 53, wherever we get to, over the course of 2025. So you might want to tune in for those as well. In the meantime, God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun out there. And I will see you hopefully again soon in Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Bye-bye.